Good afternoon. This is Professor David J. De Los Reyes, an electrical engineer by profession. Okay, my topic this afternoon will be the basic concepts of trigonometry. So for those who are beginner, this is for you guys. I will be discussing concepts. Concepts is the foundation of anything that you will solve. Without knowing the concept, you will get lost. Okay, let's proceed. My topic this afternoon will be trigonometric functions, and this is concepts for beginners. So if you are just starting to go to college and you are not so good in trigonometry, this is for you guys. Okay, so or if you are planning to take engineering and your foundation on trigonometry is not so good, this is for you guys. Okay. I will be discussing the trigonometric functions. I've been teaching for quite some time, and I noticed it that those who fail the subject actually doesn't know how the concepts of trigonometry is. Okay, so this afternoon I will be discussing the concepts, because without knowing this, okay, without knowing these concepts, you will get lost in trigonometry. And if you will get lost in trigonometry, when you go to higher mathematics, you will get lost. Okay. I will try to bring out the 6 functions under trigonometry. And this is the proper way on how to read it. I've been seeing bloggers, so, like COSH, they just read it as cos. If you are an engineer, we don't read that one as simply cos. It should be hyperbolic cosine. We don't see it as cos. Okay? So you could notice it who is an engineer, who is not an engineer. Okay. The 6 functions under trigonometry are actually, we got the first one, sine. The second one is the cosine. The third one is the tangent. And the next 3, okay, don't worry, the next 3 will just be simply the reciprocals of this. But I will give you the names now. The next 3 will be cosecant. The 5th one is secant. And the last one is cotangent. Memorize this by heart, because without knowing the definition of sine, cosine, tangent, cosecant, secant, and cotangent, you will get lost in your higher mathematics, because your foundation for concepts on trigonometry is no good. So I am telling you, memorize these 6 here by heart. This is sine, cosine, tangent, cosecant, secant, and cotangent. I will give you the proper way on how to take the abbreviation of this one. Okay, sine is simply in engineering. Okay, this is just written as simply SIN. So if you see something like, if you are in trigonometry, okay, without an E, meaning it should be read sine, but it is only abbreviated as simply SIN. Though don't read it as sin, that's a different thing. For cosine, it will just be simply COS as the abbreviation. So if you are in trigonometry or if you are in engineering, if you see a COS, that's understood to be cosine. For tangent, it is simply TEN. The abbreviation is TEN. So these are the abbreviations. For sine, it's simply SIN. For cosine, it will be COS. For tangent, it will be TEN. Okay, let's go with the next 3. Cosecant. Cosecant. The abbreviation is actually CSC. So if you see something like a CEC, if you are in engineering, that's cosecant. Okay? For secant, it will just be simply SEC. For cotangent, it is just simply COT. Because one time, I've seen a blogger who read this one. Okay? He read this one, he reads this one as simply COS, cos. I was laughing because if you're an engineer, okay, you don't just read this as simply cos. The proper way on how to read this one, maybe he's not an electrical engineer. It should be hyperbolic cosine. Okay, that's the proper way on how to read it. We don't read it as cos. Okay? It got no sense if you read it as cos. Okay, let's try to bring out the definitions of sine, cosine, tangent, cosecant, secant, and cotangent. This is basic, guys. Because if you do not know how to take the value of sine, cosine, and tangent, you're gone. So under concepts, I will show you how to get the proper values of these first three functions. This is actually based on a right triangle. Right triangle. The right angle is here. This vertical side here is OS, opposite side. This horizontal side here is ES, it is adjacent side. And the longest one is actually the hypotenuse. Why adjacent side? Considering this angle, this side here is adjacent to this angle, that's why it is termed to as adjacent side. Considering this angle theta, this side here is opposite this angle, opposite, right? So this side here is termed as opposite side. Okay, so you always take note which angle is being considered when you are discussing adjacent side and opposite side. Okay? For my concepts to be correct, if this theta here is to be the one considered, this side here is adjacent side. And this side here is opposite side this angle. And this one, whether we like it or not, it's the hypotenuse no matter what. Even if you are considering this angle or this angle, this side here is the hypotenuse. But there is a so-called relevance when we are considering adjacent side and opposite side. So you now know what's the difference of the opposite side and adjacent side. You consider the angle before discussing adjacent side and opposite side. Considering theta, this side here is adjacent side. Considering theta, this is opposite side. And by definition, okay, this is standard, guys. Maybe we are gone in this world, but the definition of sine, cosine, and tangent will still be the same. So memorize this by heart. Sine of theta, the sine of this angle, I place it here. It is opposite side over hypotenuse. The sine value of this angle here, it should be opposite side over the hypotenuse. Okay? So always refer to the sine as to the vertical leg of a right triangle, okay? Considering this angle. For a cosine, always correlate this one with the horizontal side. Cosine of this angle is actually adjacent over hypotenuse. It is adjacent over hypotenuse. And for tangent, the tangent of this angle, that is my definition. This is a standard definition. I am not just giving you this one because it is my definition. It is the definition from the book. Tangent of this angle here is opposite side over adjacent. So this is opposite side over adjacent. Okay? So by knowing these three here, okay, even though maybe you are dreaming, you should not forget these three definitions here. That the sine of any angle will be opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite side over adjacent side. That is by definition. That's the basic concepts of trigonometric functions. You might forget maybe to put on your underwear, but don't forget this one, okay? Okay, we'll take the reciprocal functions. The next three functions. Because if we now know sine, we now know cosine, and we now know tangent, to get the other three values, okay, the relation is actually reciprocal. Okay? But the proper way on how to bring out the abbreviation, it should be this. Okay, don't forget this one. Cosecant is CC, secant is ECC, and cotangent is E. And the proper relation of sine, cosine, and tangent with respect to the next three are these ones here. Okay? Meaning, the sine of angle theta is the reciprocal of cosecant. So it is simply 1 over cosecant of theta. So if you now know sine of theta, you can compute for cosecant of theta. Because they are reciprocals. For cosine, this is 1 over secant. And for tangent, this is 1 over cotangent. So if you know sine, you can solve for cosecant. If you know cosine, you can solve for secant. And if you know tangent, you can solve for tangent. These are the required relations. Memorize this also by heart. We are just discussing concept, guys. It's not an SAT exam, okay? The foundation of SAT exam is actually the concepts. Before you can familiarize yourselves with SAT exam, you should know this. Okay? Oh, I will try to give you an example problem on how to compute for the value of the trigonometric functions. Considering for the meantime a right triangle. This is very popular in engineering. The so-called 3-4-5 triangle. 3-4-5 right triangle. Why 3-4-5? It's 3-4-5 because it is something like this. If this is 3 and this is 4, whether we like it or not, the hypotenuse will be 5. That's the meaning of this. And actually, engineers memorize the values of this, even though they are sleeping, you know. Like, if this is 3, this is 4, actually, engineers try to ask all the engineers, they memorize the arctangent of 3 over 4, and they will tell you that this is 36.86 degrees. During the so-called slide rule time, if we try to divide 3 over 4, we know immediately that the value of 36.86 degrees. The problem is just simple, guys. This is not an SAT exam, okay? This is just an illustration of the concepts, okay? For the given right triangle, if this is 3, this is 4, the problem is asking what will be the hypotenuse, what will be the value of sine of theta, what will be the value of cosine of theta, and what will be the value of tangent of theta, and what is theta. Meaning, if this is 3 and this is 4, okay, what will be the sine of this angle here, what will be the cosine, what will be the tangent, and what is its value, and what is the value of the hypotenuse. If we try to bring out the solution, this is a right triangle. Pythagoras principle. The square of the hypotenuse equal to the square of the adjacent side plus the square of the opposite side. We are given the adjacent side and opposite side. So if we are trying to solve for the value of h, take the square root of both sides. So h now will be the square root of the sum of the squares of the adjacent and opposite side. It's an easy money, guys. It's not even a complicated problem. Okay? So this will be 4 squared plus 3 squared, that will be 16 plus 9, the square root of 25. So the hypotenuse will be 5. That's why I told you there's a 3-4-5 triangle. If this is 3, this is 4, and it is a right triangle, the hypotenuse should be 5. And we have proven that the hypotenuse is actually 5. So the unknown hypotenuse, if this is 4 and this is 3, this is 5. And what will be sine of theta? The sine of the unknown angle will be, you know the definition of sine. It is opposite over hypotenuse, right? Sine of theta will be 3 over 5. This side here over hypotenuse, this is 5. Right? Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so this is 4 over 5. That's by definition. It's not a hard thing, guys. We are not on the SAT exam. This is just basic concepts, okay? Because before you can solve a complicated problem on the SAT exam, you should know these concepts, okay? Tangent of theta will be this side here, opposite over adjacent. This is 3 over 4. And actually, in the computation of the value of theta, we could present three solutions. Because sine of theta is 3 pips, take the arc sine of both sides. The arc sine of theta is just theta, okay, equal to the arc sine of 3 over 5. If you try to use your calculator, so for those who do not know how to use the calculator, you should know it, guys. I know you are popular with cell phones. I don't know if there is a trigonometric function over there. You just divide 3 divided by 5. Hold on. 3 divided by 5. Second function, tangent. It's 36.86 degrees. Is it 36.86? Hold on. Sine of theta will be 3 over 5. 3 divided by 5 equals 0.6, right? Second function, sine. It's 36.86 degrees. Okay. Second solution, take the arc cosine of both sides. The arc cosine of cosine is just theta, and the arc cosine of the right hand side is the arc cosine of 4 over 5. 4 over 5 is 0.8. Take the arc cosine, what will come out is 36.86. We got too much solution for the computation of the value of theta. Tangent of theta is 3/4. Take the arc tangent of both sides. The arc tangent of theta is just theta, and the arc tangent of 3/4 is the arc tangent of 3/4. The arc tangent of 0.75 is still 36.86 degrees. It's not a hard problem. This is just the basic concept. So when you go to the SAT exam, if you don't know this one, you cannot solve the problem on the SAT exam. Okay, that's it, guys. That's the basic concept of trigonometric functions for those beginners and for those who are not so good in trigonometry. This is the one of the foundations of higher mathematics, because without knowing the definition of the trigonometric functions, that is from sine, cosine up to cotangent, you're gone. This is just basic concept, guys. Okay. Good afternoon, Los Angeles.